Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 3, Episode 4 of Apple TV's Foundation, entitled The Stress of Her Regard. And within the context of that title, I want to talk about the theoretical stress of my regard. Like, I hold this show in very high regard, and that makes the bar it has to clear in order to impress me pretty high. Yet somehow the show manages to continue to do so. Like, I thought Season 1 was cool. I was in on the second season. Season 1 did a lot of cool and unique things. Season 2, it got off to a rough start for me. But it got better and better each week to the point of finishing at number 4, I believe, in my best of 2023 list. Now, this season is off to the best start of the 3, but just like Season 2, it's continuing to get better and better each week, building off the previous week's momentum and starting from a higher point. You know, Adolescence still currently holds my number 1 spot for best show of 2025 so far. But by the time this season of Foundation is over, if it keeps going like it's going, it's either going to take that spot or be number 2. It's firing on all cylinders at this point. Yet again, another great episode this week from Demerzel's existential therapy session at the top of the episode, which was an incredible opening scene to me. To a full-on power shift in Empire with not 1, but 2 Cleons fleeing Trantor. Like, this episode had everything. So let's just get into it. Right out of the gate, this episode drops a bomb with that first scene. Demerzel confesses to the priestess that she's been seeing that only retains her memories within that garden space, that she's the one who destroyed the Star Bridge back in Season 1. And not just as like a random act of chaos, but as a calculated move to help the Foundation in the short term, but in order to help Empire survive in the long term. And the priestess responds to Demerzel, pointing out that the paradox of helping Foundation in the short term caused them to be a bigger threat in the long term for Empire. And she wonders if maybe this was a subconscious long game by Demerzel to free herself of her dedication to Empire. That after Empire falls, Demerzel could essentially start over, reboot, live a life that's not just about being subservient to Empire like she did before she became subservient to Empire. And the idea that this, I don't look at Demerzel as a emotionless robot, but that's how she's viewed within the world. The idea that she's pulling strings over millennia to gain her freedom, possibly unbeknownst to her own self, that's wild. It's brilliant, and it's just the kind of sci-fi that I sign up for. That this show continues to provide week over week and season over season. But Demerzel tries to shut down that theory by having a really cool moment of splitting open her face to reveal that she's not human and thus above such human desires. Cool flex, but I'm not convinced. She's probably trying to free herself, whether that's subconsciously or not. And the seed is planted, at least for me anyway. Demerzel might be the biggest player on the board.
Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD where you can commission me to watch a show which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review.
Meanwhile, I learned much to my chagrin that Pritchard is dating Gail. And it's weird to be disappointed that a fictional character is single. Is not single, but here we are. I am. But I'll give credit where it's due. Their storyline did get interesting. So Preem Palver, again, that's the first speaker. I'm done making jokes about how he doesn't speak. It was good for the one episode. I'm not going to keep doing it. But he's the first speaker. He don't speak. But he shows up and again, I love how, not again, because it's the first time I'm mentioning this, but all jokes aside on the first speaker not speaking, it allows them to do cool things like what he does in this scene, where he puts his hand on both Gale and Pritchard's head and kind of like mind merges the three of them to see exactly what happened to Pritchard in the club. That's something that, that gives us a cool opportunity to do something like that if the guy, can't hear or can't speak or whatever. So I can't say if. There's no if. He can't. The actor can't. The actor's deaf. So, of course, Palmer is deaf. But I love this scene, too, because it helped make sense of what happened last week when Pritchard was in the club with the mule and he collapsed and he bailed. He just ran out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Some fucking warrior this guy is. But turns out the mule read Pritchard's mind in that brief moment and downloaded most of his life like a fucking PDF file. And that's why he's like, who is Gale Dornick? He saw that in Pritchard's head in that moment, just that fast. And while the mule didn't learn their location on Ignis, Palmer says that the three of them learned two key things about the mule. One, he's into music, but that also likely amplifies his power, which is a weird and dope detail. And two, he surrounds himself with people. Surrounding himself with people, familiarity, because deep down he's lonely. Maybe they can use that information to their advantage. Gale wants to kill the mule, but Pritchard's hesitant. I mean, he's kind of like, we don't have to do that. The future can be changed. I don't know why the kill mule plan needs to be avoided by Pritchard, but whatever, man. At this point, I have so much confidence in the show that I'm sure I'm going to be satisfied with whatever direction they choose to go in. Here's what I'm not satisfied with. Any scenes surrounding the surrounding the Foundation ambassador Quint. She's played by Cherry Jones. The new Terminus mayor, Inber. And this point, I did mean new, but it's new Terminus, not new Terminus mayor. You got me. And Ebling, he's played by Prince Doran from Game of Thrones. They failed to gain my buy-in on their subplot just yet, but we at least here learned that Torrin Mallow, his wife Beta, and the guy that they kidnapped, who was essentially the mule's assistant, I'm blanking on his name right now, they're essentially considered fugitives and they're on the run. Quint goes to meet with her pal Dusk over him not having shared, little insignificant details like the fact that Empire has the Prime Radiant. And Dusk eventually shows her the Prime Radiant, doesn't allow Demerzel to join them. And in a moment that didn't work for me, they played up like an erectile dysfunction joke when he can't get it to work the first time. None of that whole sequence starting from when Ebling arrives at the new Terminus mayor's office all the way up to the end of the scene with Dusk and the Ambassador Quint. None of that worked for me. But it's a very small portion of the episode. Now, again, I'm sure I have confidence with them, but once they integrate it with everything else, I'm probably going to be satisfied with the end result. Actually, another thing I didn't like, again, another small thing, and I swear it's not because I'm jealous, but the scene where Pritchard tries to get Gale to commit to something more, like, I say this all the time, I don't need forced romance. The exchange where they break down how much time they spent together and they break it down to the seconds, like, okay, cool, that was cute, nice little scene, whatever, but the show has far too much actual cool shit going on to shoehorn in a romance that I don't care about with a character that I just met this season. Like, the show's already juggling godlike AI, physics, collapsing empires. We don't need a side of awkward dating. Like, just keep it down to the cool shit that you're already doing. Whoever it is that you feel needs this, I promise you they'll be fine without it. But back on Trantor, Dave visits one of the Cleon the First, one of those, memories that they kind of like pop up. Not a memory, but like, the old iterations, how they go in there and they're like, I want to speak to the old Cleon. And they have conversations like that person's still alive. He asked Cleon the First about a trip to Mycogen from his 26th year. And Mycogen is the planet that Day's little girlfriend Song that she was sent back home to after Demerzel, not discovered, but after Song, notified Demerzel that she was part of the robot cult. So inconvenient for Day. Turns out Cleon went there to retrieve a set of ancient tools for Demerzel when the people of Mycogen wouldn't give them up since they're considered to be holy relics. he casually slaughtered 20,000 of them. And 20,000 is a lot of people, right? But the reason he stopped at 20,000 is because that planet produces Trantor's food. So he only wanted to kill enough people to make sure that they had enough people left to still feed Trantor. Amazing. Empire's version of restraint, I guess. But we don't learn what the tools were that Cleon/Day went there to retrieve in that scene. In the scene where he's, talking about it, or it's being talked about, we don't learn what the tools were. He just says, I had to get tools. He doesn't say what they were. So present day, he then goes to see Demerzel and brings up how she doesn't understand connection, right? Like, you sit Song away because you don't understand how people connect. And she drops some pretty interesting lore that robots used to have a hive mind called the Clasp, and that they could all share one mind, and they shared everything with one another that way. I swear that better come back around. Like, if there's one robot left in the galaxy, that shit needs to come back around. And then Day is like, oh, like how the wall controls talk to the furnace. Like, oh, that was savage, man, but I loved it. And then Day just fucks off, right? So then next, he meets with Maven, and Maven is the guy that Day's been gambling with, who agreed to help him leave Trantor in exchange for his nanites that would cure his daughter's illness. Well, I take that back. They don't so much meet. Maven arrives home to find Day already there, playing with his kid and with his wife. Not with his wife in that way, amongst his wife. And Day says the plan is being moved up. They need to leave right now. And he again promises to help the kid. But now the plan is to go to, for Day to go to Mycogen to go after Song. After they leave, Day extracts the nanites into some sort of like nanite Yeti cooler and hands it to Maven, just as he promised. Like, here's the nanites for your kid. Then he kills that motherfucker. He's been picking up on Maven's tells the entire time that they've been gambling. Apparently Maven like flashes headlights or something like that as a signal to someone. And I hope that the show comes back to whoever it was that Maven was signaling, by the way. But Day caught on to it. And then comes another twist. Day injects his own nanites, the ones that he put in the Yeti, into Maven, so that Demerzel is going to think that body, Maven's body, is Day. And it's going to be just enough to throw them off the trail long enough for Day to escape. And not only does he say that, but he's like, that was always the plan. He's fucking brilliant, man. Like, even the washed version of Day could still cook up a master plan way better than almost anyone else. Like, the fact that he could fool everybody like that just by being washed is amazing. But once Demerzel finds out that Day's nanites went offline, she checks her little maintenance toolkit, the one that she was using in the scene when Day came in there. She had her head off or whatever. She checks the toolkit that she was using and sees that one piece is missing. So that now informs us, the audience, that not only were the tools that she was using for maintenance on herself the tools that Cleon the First retrieved from Mycogen, but that the tool that Day stole is the peace offering that he had earlier alluded to having for Mycogen when he arrives. So his entire conversation with her was just a ruse just to get that tool. Like, genius. It's genius by the character, genius by the great writing on this show. It's the kind of payoff that makes this show elite. No wasted dialogue, just layered, patient storytelling. Lastly, Dawn and Gale meet up in person this time. He's like, yeah, the whole mule Calgagen enclosure thing, it ain't happening. And she says that they need to leave now, together, off of Trantor. And he's like, Demerzel might be onto me, which we, the audience, well, I'm not gonna say we know, but the show has alluded that she very well might be. So it's no surprise when soldiers do in fact arrive. And there's a part of me that wonders if the audience is meant to assume that he was followed from the moment he left the palace, or that Demerzel maybe sent some people to follow him, which is the what's it called? The most obvious answer is probably the right one, Occam's razor. That's probably that's what we're meant to believe this is. But I wonder, there's a part of me, if Gale is the person who got the soldiers to come there as a means of almost forcing Dawn to go with her. But I guess we'll see. But anyway, they make their escape using a cloaking ability that either Gale recently acquired or that I forgot she already had. But they dip. Same time as Day leaves on a bike that looks like it was something out of Tron. And now Empire has lost both Dawn and Day. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this episode other than just it was a banger, straight up. Like the Demerzel angle alone, that maybe her thousands-year millennia plan is all about winning her own freedom, maybe even unbeknownst to her, is some like Asimov turned up to level 11 type storytelling. Like, I love it. Add to that the betrayal from both Dawn and Day, and possibly Demerzel herself, and you've got an empire it's not just crumbling, it's vaporizing. And somehow the show keeps adding complexity, making these stories and these subplots even more layered, but without making it confusing. That's a tough balance, but Foundation keeps pulling it off. Can't wait to see what's next. So that's all I got this week. If you're loving Foundation as much as I am, and if you think my videos are halfway decent, hit that like button, drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch my other Foundation content. Again, I have every episode covered on this channel. I got a playlist that probably popped up on your screen at some point, probably around the 3-minute mark, that'll have all the Foundation videos in it. I got more breakdowns coming every week, so stick around. And until then, peace.